guys, welcome back to Ikesoft Technologies, and this is the premium packages for After Effects, Adobe After Effects motion graphics lessons. Okay, so if you are watching this very tutorial, then blessed are you. Okay, so on this series, on this classic series, we're gonna learn how to do 10 logo animations, and we're gonna learn how to do 10 lower third animations, and we're gonna see how to build 10 video slideshows animations. And these three major guys, they are the fundamentals of After Effects. They are what you need to know about motion graphics. And last but not the least, if you subscribed to the premium package, which is if you subscribed as well as the plugin packages, on the last video we're going to show you how you can use the plugin packages to work amazingly. All right, so with no further ado, let's get started. Let's create a new project and let's click on this composition guide. Now on this composition, let's give it a name. Let's call this composition, we will say that logo animation lesson 1, and I will always like to choose 1920 by 1080 by the resolution. So after this, don't do anything again, just set the duration to 5 seconds, and that is 0.5, and click on OK. Right, so that is going to create 5 seconds timeline for you. I like to hide this and hide this permalink, right? So I have something like this, right? So let's click on this guy to turn off the transparency of this. Now before we get started, let's create a background, a nice background, which is called a solid. So there are a lot of ways of creating solids, and bear in mind that After Effects comes along with some 4 major things you need to understand. Basically, you must know how to understand what is called opacity. You must know how you must get to know understand how to what is called positioning, scale, and then transform, rotation as well. All these are what we are going to use throughout the whole After Effects, right? So with no further ado, let's hop right into the construction of the project. So quickly, let's go to layer, new, solid, or you can simply right click here, go to new, select solid. Now this is going to be our background, our background image. So let's call this background. Let's call this background, right? So with this background, we want to make comp size, which means it's gonna suit up to the comp size. When I say maybe 100 pixels, undo that, let's create a new solid. And when I say 100 pixels and I say background, then I click on make comp size, it's gonna pick the default composition size of the screen. So I just have to say that choose a color of that. I'm just going to choose a white color by default, then I click on OK. So this is my background, and it has created a nice background for me, a nice layer with a color for me. Now let's see what we can do with this nice background. Let's go to the effect and preset panel. You can go to whilst this background is selected, go to effects, and the effects, just go to generate. Under generate, search for gradient ramp. And what gradient ramp does is it helps us to get multicolored, or let's say multicolors on a layer. So these are the settings for the multicolors. Let's switch from linear to radial, and on this little guy up here, drag that guy in the middle, right? And what we're gonna do is the black color, let's set it to deep white, right? And then the end color, let's set the end color to lighter, something like this, think I love this, right? Good. And this is very, very awesome. Indeed, in fact, you can work with this, or you can choose any color your heart desires. You can decide to choose in within black, and you can decide to choose with this color, and that is also quite interesting. So you can either swap the colors so that they reciprocate, right? So they will just have to reciprocate just like that. So you can decide to choose this color, and that is going to be awesome. As well as you can decide to choose the white color and choose this guy, and that is going to work absolutely fine. You can work on the scatter. It depends on whatever you want to do. You can work on the bandwidth original. It depends on what you want to do. Now on this video, or on this lesson, we're going to see how to create our first animation intro using shapes. So with shapes, we have to create shapes, right? So we have so many ways of creating shapes. You can come here, or you can just right click and then create a shape layer, and then you draw on that. Or you can simply go to this guy, click and hold to give you all these. Then let's go to this polygon tool. Now I will set the fill to none because I don't want it to fill in within. I need only the stroke. So just click on the stroke and work along with the colors, right? So I'd like to choose a red color for the stroke, and that is going to be like this. And then I'd like to choose 10 for the stroke size. Then I draw. So this is how it's going to be. Now you can see that the anchor point is not being in the center of this. So we want to place this anchor point in the middle of this. So to do that, make sure your shape layer is selected. Go to layer, transform, and select center anchor points, right? So click on that to center it. Then let's go to window. Then let's select align, right? So on this align, we're gonna align it to the center, and then align it to the center, this and that. Good. So we have this. I'd like to extend the stroke to maybe 42 or 40 or 35. It depends on what you want to do. So I'd like to use 40 for now. Bear in mind that you can decide to choose any color your heart desires, and that is going to work absolutely perfect. So we have this. On this shape layer, I would like to rename this shape layer. So I just right click, rename. Let's call this first shape. Good. On this first shape, I can decide to choose an instant color for that, which is red, or you can decide to choose C form. It depends on, it helps you in arranging your project, right? So before we continue, let's save our project. Go to file, save, and we're gonna call this, let's create a new project, a new folder in my documents, and I'm gonna call this After Effects Lessons. So with this lesson, I'll just double click on that to open that folder. Then I'm just gonna call this let's say logo animation lesson 1. So with this, I'll just click on save. So I have this saved here. That is awesome, and I love that. Good. So with this shape, let's open this guy, and then we have the content and then the transform. Transform holds the major sections of the major things you need to understand in After Effects. The transform holds it. We have the anchor point, that is what we used first earlier on. You can see that it works with the anchor points. And then we have the position, which works with the position of the whole thing. We have the scale of it, which scales everything. And then we have the rotation of it, which rotates everything. And then we have the opacity, which works with the opacity of it. That is the basic things you need to understand in After Effects. Now let's go to the contents. With this contents, After Effects has its own layer content which comes along with it. So this is the polygon polystar we have created so far. With this polystar, we can go to the polypath, which is the first one, and then you can select star or a polygon. I want a polygon, and then the points, I can decide to choose 8-sided polygon, or I can decide to choose 7-sided polygons. They all work the same depending on what you want to learn or how you want your project is going to be. Good. So with this, the position, we have the scale, the outer radius, like that. You see, we have the outer radius depending on what you want to do, right? So I would like to keep the outer radius like this, and then we have the roundness of it. You can decide to work along with the roundness, and it depends on whatever you want to do. So I like to choose it to be exactly like this. Good. So let's see the stroke path. Now we have the stroke. We are done with the polygon or the polystar. Let's go with the stroke. Now with the stroke, this is the color for the stroke, and then we have the stroke width. As I said earlier on, we have the stroke width. That is the same thing for this, right? Good. So this is amazing. Now we have something called the linear cap. The linear cap, let's switch it to the round cap. I will show you what it does very soon. So with this, we are done. Let's click on this add sign to add an effect or animation to this awesome polygon shape we've created so far. So let's select trim path. What trim path does is it allows you to animate it allows you to animate your shape, right? Good. It allows you to animate your shape, and as you can see that we have this rounded shape here. That is the job the under the stroke path. That is the job the cap does. So when you choose bad cap, this is how it's going to be, but when you choose rounded cap, it's going to be something like this. So I always highly recommend you to use the rounded cap, and it's very super. Now let's go back to the trim path, and with the trim path we have the start position, and then we have the end position. So let's set the start position to end position to 100, and the start position to 0. Now we have something called keyframe. Keyframes are very important, and that is the major thing we use in After Effects. So let's say when it plays up to 20 frames, I want the shape to be like this. So I'll just go to the end screen, and then I click on this stopwatch to create a keyframe. Keyframe means it has stored this particular frame or particular design or particular shape I have created. So I have to move this to the back, then I set it to 0. You see, so it will now animate everything. Good. So now I want the starting point to be not from here but on the top here. So to do that, just go to the polygon path, and then we have the rotation. So you just have to rotate it for it to be this way. You see? So when you hit 0 on your keyboard, it's gonna play. So I'm just gonna shrink this to only 20 frames. This means when I click on 0, it's gonna loop only for 20 frames. And as you can see, we have something like this. But you see that it starts like raw and it ends like raw. We have a lot of animations we can give to this. So let's close everything here, and let's open only the trim path and highlight all the keyframes, and right click keyframe assistance, and let's easy it. So what it does is it gives you a smooth start, and it gives you a smooth ending. But if we want to get the best smooth style, we have to use something called the curves. So the curves is being indicated under the graph editor here. So click on the graph editor and that is gonna pop up this guy for you. Now bear in mind that this is the starting keyframe and then this is the ending keyframe. You can see that it has this line. This line is going to tell us how much slowness we want to give to this design. So I'd like to pull this back to maybe something like this, and I pull this forward to maybe something like this. And when I switch back from the graph editor to normal keyframing, then I hit 0 on my keyboard, you can see this is how it's gonna be, right? Good. So it moves very fast, so I have to push this back and at the ending push this back, right? So let's see. You see, so we can decide to say that this is gonna be like you see, then the ending is gonna be something like this, and that is gonna be awesome. Yes, this is good. I really love this. Good. So with this keyframe, you can push this keyframe back to get the smoothness of it. So let's see. You see, so I have this smoothness of it and I love it. Now let's try to do some reshaping of this, and it's very, very interesting. Let's close everything. Now bear in mind that we have this shape right here. This is a single shape we have, and that is this, and it contains all the animation we have created so far. So what we have to do is click on this shape, go to edit, and then click on duplicate. So that is going to duplicate the layers for us. So on this layer, I right click and rename this layer to second shape, right? So I love this second shape, and on this second shape I would like to go back to the polygon, and I will just select the polygon path and I will extend the radius instead. So this is the radius and the stroke path. So let's go to the stroke width. Let's set it down to maybe this. Let's set it down to 10, and let's go back to the poly path. Then the roundness of it, I think undo that. Let's see the outer radius. Let's set it to maybe 290, and I love that. So with this, when I click on 0, this is how it's gonna be, right? So what we're gonna do is concerning this, we want to, as soon as this ends, when we move forward, we want the second shape under the trim path. We want the end or the start position to be 100. So the start position, what we're gonna do is we have to after it ends up to the 100, we have to start a keyframe for the start position as well. Then as soon as it gets to 10 frame, we just have to switch it to 100%, and this does a nice animation. Let's see how best it works. You see, so it works very fast, so we have to increase this. So let's see how it works. You see, so that is how we do basic animation, right? So let's ease all the keyframes, and let's go to the curves, and as we did earlier on, try to work with the curves for you to get a better design. You see, that is very, very nice. So I'd like to extend this. You see, so that means I have to extend this a little bit, and this is how it's going to be. You see, so let's undo that and let's reshape it. Good. Or you can simply switch to this guy and then just extend it, and that is going to work absolutely fine. Good. Good. So we have this here, and that is very nice animation, very nice intro. Bear in mind that you can work with the colors as well. You can decide to choose any color your heart desires, and that is going to work absolutely fine. So with this polygon or poly style, I can go to the strokes because I was working on the strokes, and then I can choose a black color for the stroke. So we have something like this. Good. The same thing applies. You can go to the you can simply go to the first shape, and then go to the content. Under the polystar, go to the strokes, and then set the color back to black. So you have all these black colors, and they are very interesting, right? Good. So this is very nice. So we have this. All we have to do is we can duplicate this first shape, which is this second shape, sorry. So just go to layer, edit, sorry, then duplicate. We have this second layer, so let's rename this layer to third shape. So with this third shape, let's open that up, go to content, polystar, and from the poly path, right, we have the poly radius. Let's set the poly radius inside for it to be something like this, and it's gonna take the same nice effect, you see. So all we have to do is we have to delay, we have to reciprocate. So reciprocation simply means that we have to delay some keyframes for this guy. So just open the poly, and we worked on the trim path, that is the keyframe position of everything. So just highlight everything here, every keyframe here, then just move it forward, right? So this is how the animation is gonna be. You see, that is very nice and very smoothly. You see, that is very nice. Okay, so with no further ado, let's see, we have done this animation and it's very good. Now let's see how much we can put how much effort we can put in this to add a nice motion graphics to a nice design to this. So with this, all we have to do is we have something called pre-compose. Pre-compose means we are combining all the designs we've done so far all together, then we call it as a one layer. So to do that, just hold Control on the keyboard, select all the three layers, go to composition, go to layer, we have pre-compose. So let's call this first layers, and then make sure you have move all attributes into a new composition, right? Select it, then you click on OK. So that is going to give you one layer. So now we have this here. Good. So we now want to use the transformation of this. So after we get this here, I want us to use something called a position keyframe. So with a position keyframe, let's create a position keyframe here, and as we go to the 10th frame of this, we want the position to go to the up, right? So just move it up, something like this. You see, something like this, and I love it. So it's gonna be something like this, you see. So now let's easy ease our keyframe as we did earlier on. Now let's go back here, let's easy ease only the ending, right? So we want to easy ease only this. So with this, let's go to the keyframe, and okay, so with the end of it, you can see that it will just animate smoothly. You see? Good. So we have this keyframe here. You can go ahead and then work with it, with the editing, right? For the position of it, you can work along with the scale of it. The anchor points, they all works the same. You see, they all works the same. Okay, so with this, that is going to move up, right? So let's go back to our keyframes and let's see the keyframes we've done so far. Let's extend this a little bit. Extend that. I love this. So let's see. Good. So let's see what we can do from here. Now we have this keyframe here. So a minute, guys. Okay, so sorry for that. So yeah, so from here, as soon as it goes up to this section, I want to add a text, right? I want to add a text. So with this text, I'm just going to say that iCsoft Technologies, right? So with this iCsoft Technologies, I would like to bold it, right? So Arial black, and the technologies is gonna be normal. So I'll just have to reposition everything, and that is quite interesting. I can decide to work with a scale for this, that is under the transform, and then we will work on the scale. So you just have to scale it like that and position it somewhere here, and we can change the text color of this to this color, and also we can duplicate this by simply click on this, go to layer and edit, then we duplicate that, we drag this down, then we double click on this to edit it. Let's say coding priority, right? So this coding priority, I would like to use a regular or a narrow text for that, and the font size of the text I'm going to choose 50, and also position it somewhere here, and I would like to set the the VA to 100%, or let's say maybe 200 for now. That is awesome. Then I position it somewhere here, right? Good. So with this guy, I would just love to say that I don't want all in caps, so I just turn this off and then I use something like that. So this is awesome, but I have a little bit of problem here. From the beginning of this, all these guys are there, you see. So what I will do is I'll just give a position keyframe for the two of them, right? So this iCsoft and then the coding, holding shift to select all these two, I can pre-compose them. So go to composition, layer, pre-compose. Let's call this text. So we have the text layer for this. So for this text layer, I would like to go to its transformation, then set a position keyframe here. So as soon as it goes down like this, you see, this will also be going down like that. You see, so we have it to be like this. Now this is how it's going to be. You see, so this section I would like to ease the keyframe. Can go to the curves and work on the curves, but I really love it to be like this. You see, now from the beginning of this, still the iCsoft Technologies is there. So what you're going to do is click on this text, select on rectangle tool, and then mask only this out. You see? So after masking it out, this is how it's gonna be. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Sorry for that. I think we have to mask that out. So let's see. Okay, so the mask is moving along with the with the text, right? So what we have to do is we have to simply enter into the text, and as you can see, this is the text, right? So we have to animate this instead. So we have to select this, hold shift, and then let's go back to the logo animation. So from this section, we just have to set a position keyframe. So hit P on your keyboard to bring out all the position keyframes, and then we just go back to where it starts from here. Then we copy this keyframe. So we just have to go to edit, copy, and then let's go here and then right click, or let's say paste. Go to edit, paste. So it's gonna paste that keyframe. Undo that. We just have to refix it. So just undo that and then just drag it down to create that keyframe. Now on this keyframe, you see, so this is how it's gonna be. You can decide to choose it for it to be this way, you see. Then you can ease it out as well. Then you work on the easy ease, right? So you can simply work on the easy ease, and that is going to work absolutely perfect. Good. So I don't want to work on the easy ease, but I just want to extend this a little bit. So we have this. So on this keyframe for this first layer, on this text layer, so we just have to delete this keyframes because they are no more needed. So we have this, you see. So that is it. So on this layer, we have to position this text, right? So for the position, let's position it up like this. So this is how it's gonna be, you see. So you see, so then we have to select this, going for the mask tool, then let's mask only this portion. That is what we need. So from there, you see that there is no mask there. So this is how we do the animation, you see, and that is very, very nice. Now let's see how much more can we add our logo to this. Now let's go into our project, right click, and let's say import a file, right? So importing a file, I'll just go to my videos, and then under my videos I have my logo there. So I'll just search for my logo, and I think I have the logo here. So I will then choose this red guy, and I believe that is going to be awesome. So I'll just click on import. That is going to import my logo for me. So from this section, from the beginning of this section, as it combines to this, I want the logo to appear. So I'll just drag and drop the logo on top of this. Then I'll just open up the logo, transform, then I turn down the scale for it to be like this, you see. So with this, I love this scale, right? I love the scale for it to be like this. So from this section, as it comes up to this section, I like to set up the scale position. Then as it goes down to this section, I'll just set the scale position to 0. See, so we have to ease all of them, and we can then render it out to see how it looks like, you see. You see, so we having another problem here. You can see that it is not working on this. You see, so to get it working, we have to move this. So right click, or let's say go to edit, cut this, go to the first layer, open it up, and let's switch to transparent, go to edit, paste. Then we have it here with the same animation. You see, so now when we come back to the layer, it affects the design. So we have something like this. You see, and that is very, very nice and beautiful. Bear in mind that you can still work with the colors as compared to the layers we've created so far. So when we go back to the first layer, you can go to the first shape. Whilst you have this on, go to the first shape, go to the content, polygon, stroke, and then you have the color here. You can decide to choose within the colors, and that is going to work absolutely perfect. So we have this first guy which is being fixed. Let's go to the second guy, go to the content, under the stroke, choose this light color. That is going to be awesome. Then let's go to the third one, which is the third one, and I go to the stroke color, and then I choose the first guy. So this is how it's going to be. You see, it's very, very nice. Now I'm going to work on the text, right? So for the text, I'll just go to the text and then select any of the text. I mean this text, go to the colors of it, and then choose this color. And for the coding priority, I can decide to choose red color, and that is awesome. Now when I go back to my animation, this is how it's going to be. You see, that is very, very nice and beautiful. So as a motion graphics person, you have to work along with this, right? So to get everything done, let's select the text and the first layer, go to composition, if layer pre-compose, let's call it complete. Right, so with this complete, we can then say that we can scale it out. So with a scale, we can either scale it down or scale it up. So let's do some basic animation. So we will see that as it comes from here, comes to this portion, we want the scale position to turn to this guy, to the size of this 80. Then we set a keyframe position for that, and then the rotation as well, we set a keyframe rotation for that. So when we come to this section, the 0, we want the scale to be 0, and we want the rotation to be rotated somehow, maybe 90%. So this is how it's going to be. You see, but first of all, we can either extend this a little bit for it to get a nicer, a smoother animation. You see, so then we have to ease our ending keyframe, then we get this. You see, that is very nice. That is very, very, very nice, right? So last but not the least, let's add some nice effects, which is the last effect we want to add to this. So with this, right click, go to new solid, let's call this bubbles, right? And on these bubbles, I would like to choose the color for this. See this color? That is the bubbles. So with this bubbles, let's go to the effects, that is effects, generate CC bubbles, right? So we're just gonna go to bubbles. Where is bubbles? Generate, is it? Not generate. Okay, let's go direct to the effects and let's search for bubbles, CC bubbles. So I think we will get bubbles here, CC bubbles. How is the guy? Yeah, so drag and drop it onto this bubble guy, and this is how it's gonna be. So with these bubbles, you can decide to choose the speed, the weight, the font, the bubble size. I like to bubble it up for it to be something like this, and the amount, I would like to reduce the amount for it to be something like that. Okay, let's turn the size down, or let's undo all. Good. I love it to be like this. So let's set the opacity under the transform. Let's set the opacity to 30%, and this is how it's going to be. You see, that is very, very, very beautiful. Good. You see, so we have this nice animation as our first intro or our first motion graphics, and it's very nice. You can go ahead to work with the backgrounds, and it depends on whatever you want to do, as I said earlier on, depending on what you want to do, right? Good. So that is all for today, and I believe you have learned a lot on this awesome motion graphics lesson 1. So on our next lesson, we're going to see how we can simply work on some nice animations as well, and we get everything back on point. So until we meet again on our next lesson, have a nice day, and Ikesoft Original is out.